earlier.
Sorry.
It's really okay, not a problem. Okay. Good evening, administrators and board members. I've been proud to work in Urbana School District for 24 years. Aside from promoting the value of National Board and our certified teachers, I've never felt a need to speak at a school board meeting before. Nor have I wavered in my pride for this district. Until now. Yesterday we were informed at a faculty meeting that the deans at both UMS and UHS were being eliminated. And before I go into my concerns, please let me say this. Our deans work tirelessly for our students and our staff every day. They network with kids before school, during lunch, and after school. They make sure they get on buses safely, and they make sure they are safe at athletic events. They are excited for their successes, and they help them through their struggles. They routinely facilitate restorative practices with them when they make mistakes or wrong decisions. Bottom line, they care for our students, and they keep our buildings safe. And I appreciate all that they do. Many of you, maybe all of you, have no idea what the life of a dean is. Have any of you ever spent a day shadowing them? Or their students? How many assumptions are being made about how punitive they are without ever witnessing the work that they do? I would hope that none of us are making assumptions about individuals of any kind. That's what our district equity professional development asks us not to do. I want to speak to 2 points here tonight. Excuse me. Communication and safety. I think we all know that we work best when we work together, not around each other. And we have a long history in Urbana of doing just that. This is not the first time we've tackled difficult issues. In fact, I'm proud to say that in most cases in my career, in 24 years here, when we've had to do something like that, we've worked together. I can't remember a time ever when a major change to our structure, our curriculum, or our discipline came without conversations among the parties. I've seen so many PowerPoints in my career, I can barely count them. But I've appreciated that because in all my years here, I at least feel like I've had a seat at the table, even if it didn't include my vote in the decision making. I've always been informed of the plans to major changes, but in this case, I felt completely blindsided. A major restructuring to our buildings by eliminating deans and adding new positions. And when we asked questions, there were no real answers. Do you have a plan as to how to do this? Have you done research and have seen research models to support this idea? At the very least, you have the courtesy to come and speak to us, please, instead of sending a messenger. But without a seeming willingness to speak with us, we start to lose trust, and that's not a good place to be. We've heard that time and time again from other districts, but I've always been able to say, not Urbana. Not us, that's not how we operate. I really want to get back to that point, but it will take time and action, and the first step of action is an answer to this plea. Don, Samuel, Kathy, will you please come to our buildings and have conversations with us, not without us? Will you be willing to answer hard questions? Will you bring us a research-backed plan? And finally, safety. Let us please not lose sight of that, especially in the climate in our country right now. Our deans and admin team work together with staff and students to make our buildings feel safe to work in. And we know they're safe. Our kids know that they can come to the deans when they hear of something coming. And our deans work quietly with our admin team to make sure we catch things before they ever happen. It takes a number of people with relationships with our students to make that happen. Please don't pull that away from us. Putting a fresh set of individuals in who don't know our kids may eliminate the trust our students have. And will they be able to come to us? I don't know. And I don't want to get into the position where we have to find out. And I'm certain that none of you do either. In our district, we promote a number of hashtags. Most recently, it was hashtag Teach Urbana. I hope we find a way to continue to feel good about using that one. Right now, I'm not real sure. But what I want to end on is hashtag proud of you. Dr. Owen, Dr. Bindum, Ms. Barber, administrators and board members. Please help me get back to that one. Please see us and treat us as professionals. Please communicate with us. Please respect us. I want to get that pride back in Urbana again. Thank you.
So just keep that in mind that I'm not trying to cut off thoughts. I'm just trying to keep everybody to the rules so that I don't have to cut off the speaker. So with that, Brianna, go ahead and...
Be the change you want to see in the world. We've heard it. My own building principal says, get off the bench and be the change you want to see at UHS. The verb here, the action, the operative, the directive, the mission is be. In the English, geeks among us will likely be able to recite all the forms of to be. Am, is, are, was, were, be, being, been, grow, remain, appear, become, seem. So allow me to make a few statements using these forms. I am the change I want to see at UHS. He, behind me, she, behind me, is here at UHS. We are together changing UHS. There was word of change being imposed upon UHS. But we were sure that the leadership would not allow for an inappropriate imposition. Because we will be among the first to speak out and speak up. Be good, be brave. That's what my daughter and I say to each other each morning as we depart. And that's why I'm here now speaking to you. Because we have a history of being more than just a certified staff among our buildings, while others were busy making decisions elsewhere, choosing directions for our buildings as though we were being ourselves inaccurately. We will not stagnate in good standing on reports, but we will, however, remain rooted and invested in our students' growth in our buildings. We will remain, as in have been and will continue to be. Decisions that affect us are appearing sneaky and misguided and contrived and manipulated. I fear that the good faith efforts from central office to improve systemic racism are actually becoming degradations. How can we take away 3 positions of certified staff at 2 buildings each, open it up to 6 positions that I maybe could be right about this, I could be wrong, but if those are going to be non-certified positions, I worry that we are going to fill those positions with people that are not certified, but maybe would appear more racially diverse, as if we can't trust them in a certified position. I don't want them to be in that position because that is systemic racism, and that's what we're against. They can earn certified positions anywhere, and removing them to make them non-certified is degrading. This seems wrong and contrived. All of these statements use be as it relates to a location or a state, and isn't that the truth? We're here at our buildings when others are not. We dwell there. Our names are on doors and student schedules and parent lips when others are not. So please, don't excuse me and don't dismiss me if I'm coming across strongly. My principal taught me that I should be straight and firm when communicating. Hear me clearly. We at UHS are together. Let no man or woman put us asunder.
Technology coordinator at Urbana Middle School, and I've been there for 29 years, in the district for 29 years. First, I would like to take this opportunity to thank our deans for their dedication and commitment to our students, our staff, and families. I am truly disappointed by this decision. Equally, I'm disappointed and shocked that there was no communication between our administration, our higher administration, and our buildings when this decision was made. I first heard of this decision yesterday, and as I mentioned, I was very shocked. As a technology coordinator, I have the opportunity to move around the building and spend time in teachers' classrooms, working with students and teachers. It gives me a chance to see what the deans are actually doing. I see the deans in action. It seems that the impression is that they're simply there to give out negative consequences. This could not be further from the truth. I watch our deans work hard every day to develop a rapport with our kids and our teachers. They have restorative conversations with our students and try to help them succeed. I see students seeking out deans when they need help or advice, and they have a lot of choices in our building. They can go to a lot of people, and they choose the deans. I see them working with teachers to come up with strategies to help the students. I also see them in conversations with parents and families. Is our discipline system perfect? Absolutely not. Does it need to improve? Yes. Do we need to completely throw out the system for something that has yet to be determined or developed? No, absolutely not. I would ask the board members to talk to our deans and building principals. Find out what they really do. Spend some time with them if you can. We can improve our system if we work together. If this decision is made, it'll have real ramifications. Just today, I helped a teacher upload a resume to a site for a job. Another teacher asked me to be a reference, and a third told me she's applying for another job and has an interview. We've already lost many talented people in the past year in this district. Some choosing to retire early, some leaving because of work conditions. Many of these people are people we shouldn't have lost. Talented, dedicated individuals with critical information, knowledge, and experience. This decision will likely cause, if it is made, will likely cause more good people to leave. I don't want to see that happen. I've been told that this decision was not about people, but about personnel. That it was a decision to eliminate positions. I guess I can't afford to think like that. I'm a teacher, and my students are not personnel. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Dan Bechtel, and I've been teaching math at the secondary level in Urbana for 19 years. Over all of that time, I've been present for many changes, both structural and administrative, in the district. None of these changes have been easy on the staff or the students, but I'd like to believe that all of them have taken place in the spirit of working together, teacher with administrator, to do what's right for our kids. The collaborative nature of our relationship with administrators at both the school and the district level has been the glue that has held us together through the difficult changes that we have been asked to enact. This spirit is one of the major reasons that I've chosen to make Urbana High School my home as opposed to taking higher paying jobs in other districts. When the plan to replace the deans, and ultimately the entire disciplinary structure at the secondary level, was reported to us at the faculty meeting yesterday afternoon, I felt none of this spirit present. The idea that the central office administration would make a decision that completely changes the only system of discipline and classroom management that every student and teacher in the building has ever known without first talking to us about all of the reasons for this change and giving us some plan on how to replace the system in a clear and ordered manner, seems much more the stuff of bipartisan national politics rather than decision-making at Urbana 116. I was disappointed, angry, sad, and frankly a little scared. And I apologize for this, but this is important to me and to everybody behind me and to all the students that we have. And so I'm probably going to hit on the other side of 5 minutes, and I apologize, but I'll read as best I can. Sorry. It was clear to me from the responses of my colleagues that I was not alone in my feelings. Every major organizational change model stresses the importance of clear communication, along with a shared vision and a stated reason for that change. Why was this not a focal point here? The change was very specifically kept under wraps and revealed wholesale yesterday, with no communication or explanation at all. No clear reasons were given, and only the vaguest of plans was in place. Whose voices were included in this decision? What students, parents, teachers, or building level administrators had an opportunity for input? I decided that I needed to look a little deeper and find the reasons, or perhaps the lack thereof, for myself. Not only my math teacher, but my significant other works as a data analyst for the Urbana Police Department. Earlier this year, she introduced me to the idea of a disparity ratio. Now, this is a fairly simple metric that compares the percent of the total population and the percent of that population represented in other areas. In other words, we take the percent of kids getting referrals and compare it to the percent of kids that make up the student body. We should expect them to be the same. So if we take the two and divide them, the result should be 1. Any amount over 1 represents an overrepresentation. Any amount under 1 means there's an underrepresentation. Now, it was my hope that if I looked at our data over the last 3 years, which is the only thing that we've really had access to, I'd be able to show that our disparity ratio for African American referrals and suspensions was getting closer and closer to 1. I was hoping that I'd be able to argue and refute any heretofore unstated reasons for these changes and make the argument that we should go back to the way that we've been doing things. Unfortunately, when looking at the data, this outcome is not what I had hoped. While the overall numbers have gone down, the disparity ratio in each of these categories has either maintained or increased over the course of the last 3 years. At the end of the 2016-2017 school year, our referral disparity ratio is 1.57 for African Americans. What this means is that an African American student is 57% more likely than should be expected to receive a referral based on the school makeup. In that same period of time, 72.4% of the students receiving suspensions were African American, as compared to their 37.1% makeup of the student body. This means that disparity ratio for suspensions was 1.95, which means 95% more likely than should be expected. And both of those numbers are up from the previous 2 years. Honestly, this disparity says loud and clear to me that we absolutely need to make a change for our kids. And it would be asinine to assume that it was the hope of the seemingly few people that made this decision that one of us would get there on our own and share this with others. That had someone come to school yesterday and made this case to us, we possibly wouldn't be in the situation with all these people behind us saying that this is something that shouldn't be done this way. But it doesn't change the fact that this is true and that we need to do something about it. Now, I say what I'm going to say with the following, with the recognition that I'm only one teacher and I only speak for myself. But with that said, I propose 2 possible ideas for the 2018-2019 school year. 1, a focused secondary study year with the purpose of developing a new disciplinary and support structure that aligns with the overall vision of the district and the needs of our students to be implemented the following school year. Taking this sort of study year with a focused purpose of creating the right system in the right way would allow both for the solidification of a vision and the inclusion of the voices of our students, parents, and staff as we move forward. It would also allow all of us the time to do the work towards this much-needed change correctly through building staff-level support of these programs while knowing there's a system already in place to maintain the safety of our schools and our students. 2, a restructuring of the district-level administration to include a district-wide data analyst with the sole responsibility of mining our academic and behavioral data to identify and help prioritize the specific areas of need and concern in our schools, report these findings to schools, school board, and community, and create data-based metrics by which to judge our collective growth towards the shared vision we have. For too long, the responsibility of gathering and disaggregating this data, upon which we profess to guide our decisions, has fallen on teachers and administrators not trained in this arena, and this is too important to get wrong. I believe in my school and in our ability to make changes that will benefit all of our students. I believe in our will to change and our willingness to make the hard choices when our kids are at stake. I believe that our kids can accomplish any task that we set for them, and that we need to be sure that we aren't putting barriers in their way that are not of their own making. But I also believe that the only way to work towards these changes is together and in a thoughtful manner. With all due respect to my colleagues and friends in the ranks of the Central Office Administration, this was not done with either idea in mind. You are better than this, and if we work together, we can show that we are all better than this. Thank you for the opportunity to speak here tonight, and I hope that you are willing to listen to the need to make this decision the right way so that we can all feel like this is once again the home that we have come to love. Thank you.
Future Urbana parent, USD 116 employee for 11 years, and current UEA president. Everybody behind me knows I need that. Good evening. I'm here this evening to proactively make note of concerns surrounding shifts in disciplinary systems at UHS and UMS, and more specifically, the current positions attached to these systems. Each of you, speaking directly to the board, will be presented with a RIF list at the next meeting, a list of which will include 6 dean positions. Please note that historically, RIFs are only made due to financial necessity or declining enrollment, both of which are not the reasons behind these RIFs. Thus, I encourage you to do as I am. Question. Question why. Question if this is what's best for our students and our schools, or if there are other options and possibilities. Question the other options and possibilities that have been explored. Question the process of what information, data, and research has proven this to be the best option. Question who was involved in the decision-making process. Question the timeline of the process. Question when an attempt to problem solve within the current system was made. Question the language of elimination and replacing versus adding, adapting, and training. Question how this process and decision may impact the relationship between UEA and the district for many years to come. To be crystal clear, we, UEA, are not questioning the need to change our systems of inequity. We are questioning the process, planning, and lack thereof. If in a week's timeline, any of your questions are still left unanswered, or if the answers given are unclear or underdeveloped, know that we still have time to get those questions answered. We still have time to do this right, without flaws, without unknowns, with transparency, with a purposeful and collaborative intent. Thank you.
My name is Matthew Murray. I've worked in the district. This is my 15th year as a librarian at Urbana High School, and I'm addressing the overhaul, or the sudden announcement of an overhaul of the behavior and discipline program. The trends of behavior at the high school have been moving in a positive direction as far as I can see. Implementation of restorative practices is moving forward, and with buy-in from the staff. Our referrals are down, suspensions are down. Is there any evidence that the new plan, if a plan actually exists, will significantly improve on these trends? Multiple times in the recent past, I have heard visitors who have been in other local public high schools comment to me on how safe and calm our building is, how friendly staff and students are, and how remarkably positive the atmosphere is at our school. And that's something that I've always told people when I meet them, that is something I'm very proud of, and that all of our staff are quite proud of that. Therefore, I ask the board, when you consider whether to approve this plan, what specific UHS data, events, or critically negative trend, and critically, justifies such a radical, disruptive, immediate, and unprecedented overhaul of our system? And then I want to address just some issues related to respect for faculty, students, community, and the effects on morale. The way this policy change was conceived, enacted, and announced reflects a disregard for the knowledge, experience, and expertise of the faculty and staff. Why was there no consultation with non-administrative faculty and staff? What student, parent, community involvement in creating, planning, and implementing this policy has there been, if any? Why was the plan announced to faculty with no substantive details provided, no person or persons available who could answer questions and concerns about this plan? Why was a plan that will require a complete overhaul and reshuffling of procedures, responsibilities, and protocol around student behavior and discipline announced with only 5 months lead-up time before it is to be implemented? And of that 5 months, over half that is the summer break. I am very upset about the way this policy change has come about. It suggests to me that the Urbana way, which people have mentioned, of collaboration and constructive input between faculty, staff, and district level administration is something that is no longer valued by the leadership in this district. And that makes me very sad.
Gentlemen, my name is Sarah Jones, and I'm a teacher at Urbana High School, and I am a voice from one of your possible futures. Yesterday afternoon, our principal announced a new district implemented program for next year for UHS and UMS that involves firing our 3 certified deans and replacing them with 6 uncertified people whose jobs, pay, and qualifications are still clearly undefined. I came to work for USD 116 after 16 years in a school district so dysfunctional, the 18 members of my school's English department had closed ranks to protect our students. Every program the district implemented was secret, top-down, politically motivated, and developed without teacher input. And we resisted as a staff, every single one of them, with every tactic available. When I came here to this school district, I was flabbergasted. People from the main office, people from the schools, staff, administration, they talked to each other. In the school I came here from, we never spoke to anyone above the teacher level without a witness. And that was 4 years ago. And yesterday in the meeting, I watched that trust disappear, evaporate. So if you're interested in rebuilding that trust and not becoming the horrible place I came here from, here are a few questions you might consider answering. First, why did you resort to underhanded, secret, it seems politically motivated, disruptive programming practices that send us a message that we are not good enough, no matter what we do? Why are the people who make these decisions invisible in the process? And why are they not the ones who stand in front of us and tell us what they decided and accept the consequences of that? Where is the justice, and the equity, not only for the staff, but for the 90% of our students who come to school ready and willing to learn, and who also depend on our deans for their safety at countless school events. Why has the district not used their money in time to hire truancy officers? Attendance is an enormous factor in whether or not students are successful. Why has the district not provided more teachers so we can give our students more diverse programming and smaller class sizes to help deal with low reading levels, gaps in writing skills, and failure rates in elementary school? Or to sub out teachers so that we can be involved in generating solutions with you? Or to provide career and technical programs that many of our students not only need, but would buy into in a red-hot second? Since realistically, the staff for this new program will not be hired and the procedures designed until this summer, what in the world makes district leadership think that 2 days in August are going to be enough for the staff to learn how to use it effectively? And finally, the crux of the situation. Why is the trust of the staff who work directly with students on a daily basis suddenly unworthy of consideration? Considering that we live in this horrible time right now, when not only we but our students are dealing with school shootings, ignorant and brutal national leadership, student walkouts, teacher strikes, and widespread societal disillusionment, the implementation of this program isn't only tone deaf, it walks the rough edge of cruelty. Let me tell you, vision from your future. Top-down decision-making made behind closed doors without input from stakeholders who have to carry out the change, implemented before a plan is securely in place, is bad leadership. And if you hear nothing else tonight, listen to someone who lived this. You do not want to put teachers in a position in which they will close ranks against you for the good of their students. We are a helping profession, but you mistake us in thinking that we will passively sit by and allow terrible leadership that will have disastrous consequences. Our students, our citizens, the people who vote in this city deserve better. Thank you.
I've been in the district 27 years, so I'm not quite the dinosaur that Erlinger is, but I have seen some things. I'm not going to beat a dead horse here. I think it's been pretty well established that people are upset, people feel hurt, and that a lot of trust has been broken. However, I will say that I think it's very dangerous to make decisions in a vacuum, and that's what's happened. I rarely see anyone from central office at the middle school. And obviously, board members, you have other things to do. So I would just like to suggest something as an invitation. Come to the high school. Come to the middle school while we are conducting classes. Sub at the middle school or the high school. You will then see what we are dealing with every day, but more importantly, get a feel for the tenor in these buildings. Maybe more importantly, shadow one of the deans for a day. See what it is that they actually do. See what it is that the impact that they have on these kids. Making these decisions without actually seeing this in action, I think, is very, very irresponsible. And I think if we were to see some of you in the buildings doing this, it would be a great first step to rebuilding some of that trust that's been broken.